Hello and welcome to the video for named ranges. This is something that I will confess I don't use an awful lot. I probably should use it more often. It does make things a bit easier, specifically when you've got multiple tabs. If you have a list of, in this case, I've got a list of names, and I want to actually reference one of those names, put up one of the names from a drop down list, whatever the case might be, and I want the spreadsheet to count how many times that name appears in this list. So what I've done is I've done the formula, and this is the formula. So it'll be count if that range there locked in place is equal to the criteria of that name, and then enter, and it'll check it out. So that's a relatively straightforward formula to do. You've done a formula. Now imagine you've got 20 tabs and you've got all sorts of formulas going on all over the place, but you know that you've got a particularly important list that you're going to be referencing quite a bit. Instead of having to do the count if and then go and find the list, and then if you've got another tab later on, now all of a sudden you've got to go and do count if or another formula, whatever the formula might be, and you've got to jump to this tab and you've got to go back to that list again. You've got to click F4, and then you've got to find what you want it to equal and click OK. Now you've got one again on this tab, and you've got another tab, and you can see all these references, A, get a little bit out of hand, but B, to try and go back to find that list all the time can get a little bit time consuming and a little bit irritating. So what you can do is you can actually name this range so that next time you can use that name in the range. So if you select the range that you actually want, you can see here there's a little cell that's got the name box. It will contain, when you select it, it should by default contain the very first cell. So C10, that's the one I've selected. If you click on there, you can actually rename it. So if I call this, for example, name list, don't put in any, you can't put in any spaces or anything like that. So you call it in full name or underscore or something like that. So in this case, name list. And if I then click enter, then if I select anywhere else, it gives me that reference. But if I select that again, it'll actually tell me that's named list. So now it's named these ranges as name list. So I've overridden that formula. This formula here, I don't need anymore. I can actually replace that formula with the word name list. You see, as I start typing it in, it now gives me that name list E10, and that will give me the code. And if I do it on another page, I can also replace that name list, and it'll recognize that word name list as that range of cells. So now when I'm doing formulas on other pages, on other tabs, I don't have to then go back and try and find that list again. I can remember it's name list. I know that I've named it, and just go name list, name list, name list. It won't let you put in a word that it doesn't recognize. So you have to get it right. And then it'll always reference that particular range, and then you can crack on. If you've made a list and you want to replace, and you want to clear, you want to delete it, you can't go, it wouldn't go back here and fiddle with that. All you do then is if you go to formulas and you click on name manager, double click on there, you'll see it'll bring up a list of all of the different sheets. It'll tell you where what the values are, what range it refers to, where it is, etc. And then what you can just simply click delete if you want to delete it. And if you want to show you want to delete it, yes, close. And then where you've used that name range, it will pop up as an error, as a name error. And then you're just going to have to go back again and replace it back again with the respective data. Let's just delete that second tab. So yeah, that is how you can use name ranges. Some people will make up a whole bunch of name ranges. As I said, generally don't tend to use them. Because I find if I make a spreadsheet now and I come back to it into 3 years' time, it's easier for me to find stuff, to be honest, if it's given the exact reference rather than name ranges. But if you're making this and you're constantly using a spreadsheet, it can be easy just to remember a name range rather than have to go and actually refer to a specific range. The other time it does come in handy is sometimes when you're in a rush and you're selecting that range, you might, by some slim chance, come here one day, one of the formulas, and you drop it down and it stops there and you don't realize, and all of a sudden you've missed out the last one, etc. That kind of thing can happen when you're in a hurry. So yeah, it sometimes is better just to name it. But I'll leave it up to you to decide when that's correct, but at least now you know how to do so. So yeah, all the best with that.